Chapter 79. The Just Ruler. Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, the Prophet said, 7 are the persons whom Allah will give protection with his shade. Asterisk on the day when there will be no shade except his shade, i.e., on the day of resurrection, and they are a just ruler, a youth who grew up with the worship of Allah, a person whose heart is attached to the mosque, 2 persons who love and meet each other and depart from each other for the sake of Allah, a man whom a beautiful and high-ranking woman seduces for illicit relation, but he rejects this offer by saying, I fear Allah, a person who gives a charity and conceals it to such an extent that the left hand might not know what the right has given, and a person who remembers Allah in solitude and his eyes well up. Al-Bukhari and Muslim. The shade of Allah, to which this hadith refers to, is the shade of his throne. Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As, may Allah be pleased with them, reported, the Messenger of Allah said, the just will be seated upon pulpits of light, those who are fair with regards to their judgment and their family, and those who are under them. Muslim. Auf bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, Messenger of Allah said, the best of your rulers are those whom you love and who love you, and those who supplicate Allah in your favor, and you supplicate Allah in their favor. The worst of your rulers are those whom you hate, and who hate you, and whom you curse, and who curse you. It was asked by those who were present, should not we oppose them? He said, no, as many long as they establish salat. As long as they establish salat in your midst. Muslim. Riyad bin Himar, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, Messenger of Allah said, the people of Jannah will be of 3 kinds: a just, successful ruler, a man who shows mercy to his relatives, and a pious believer who has a large family and refrains from begging. Muslim. Chapter 80. Obligation of obedience to the ruler in what is lawful and prohibition of obeying them in what is unlawful. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, reported, the Prophet said, it is obligatory upon a Muslim to listen to the ruler and obey whether he likes it or not, except when he is ordered to do a sinful thing. In such case, there is no obligation to listen or to obey. Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, reported, whenever we took a pledge of allegiance to Messenger of Allah, to hear and obey, he would say to us, as far as you are capable of. Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, reported, Messenger of Allah said, one who withdraws his hand from obedience to the Emir will find no argument in his defense when he stands before Allah on the day of resurrection, and one who dies without having sworn allegiance, will die the death of one belonging to the days of ignorance. Muslim. Another narration is, the Messenger of Allah said, he who dies having defected from obedience to the Emir and discards his association with the main body of the Muslim community dies the death of one belonging to the days of Jahiliyyah. Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, the Messenger of Allah said, hear and obey even if an Abyssinian slave whose head is like a raisin is placed in authority over you. Al-Bukhari. Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, the Messenger of Allah said, it is obligatory upon you to listen and obey the orders of the ruler in prosperity and adversity, whether you are willing or unwilling, or when someone is given undue preference to you. Muslim. Abdullah bin Amr, may Allah be pleased with them, reported, we accompanied Messenger of Allah on a journey. We halted at a place to take a rest. Some of us began to set right their tents. Others began to graze their animals, while others were engaged in competing with one another in archery, when an announcer of Messenger of Allah announced that people should gather for Salat. We gathered around the Messenger of Allah, and he addressed us, saying, every prophet before me was under obligation to guide his followers to what he knew was good for them, and to warn the evil thing which he knew. As for this Ummah, it will have sound state and in its early stage of existence. But the last phase of its existence will be faced with trials and with things you do not recognize. There will be tremendous trials, one after the other, and to each the believer will say, that is it. Whenever a trial arrives, the believer will say, this is going to bring about my destruction. When this passes, another calamity will approach, and he will say, this surely is going to be my end. Whosoever wishes to be removed from the fire, hell, and admitted to Jannah, should die with faith in Allah and the last day, and he should treat others as he wishes to be treated. He who swears allegiance to an Imam, he should give him the pledge in ratification and the sincerity of his heart. He should obey him to the best of his capacity. If another man comes forward as a claimant, when one has already been installed, behead the second. Muslim. Wail bin Hujr, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, Salama bin Yazid al-Juf, may Allah be pleased with him, asked, Messenger of Allah, Salam, O Prophet of Allah, tell us what you command us to do if there arises over us rulers who demand of us what is due to them and refuse us what is due to us. Messenger of Allah turned away from him, but he repeated the same question. Thereupon Messenger of Allah said, listen to them and obey. They are responsible for their obligations and you are accountable for yours. Muslim. Abdullah bin Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, Messenger of Allah said, "There will be discrimination after my death, and there will be other matters that you will disapprove." He was asked, "O Messenger of Allah, what do you command us to do when we are encountered with such happenings?" He answered, "Give what is due from you, and supplicate to Allah for your rights." Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, Messenger of Allah said, "Whosoever obeys me, obeys Allah, and he who disobeys me, disobeys Allah, and whosoever obeys the Emir, leader, in fact, obeys me, and he who disobeys the Emir, in fact, disobeys me." Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with them, reported, Messenger of Allah said, "If a person notices in his ruler what he dislikes, he should show patience, because he who departs from the Muslim community a cubit dies like those who died in the days of ignorance." Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, I heard Messenger of Allah saying, "He who insults the rulers, Allah will insult him." At-Tirmidhi, who classified it as Hadith Hasan. Chapter 81. Undesirability of aspiring for office. Abdur Rahman bin Samara, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, the Messenger of Allah said to me, "Do not ask for position of authority. If you are granted this position without asking for it, you will be helped by Allah in discharging its responsibilities. But if you are given it as a result of your request, you will be left alone, as its captive. If you take an oath to do something and then find a better alternative, you should adopt the latter and expiate for your oath." Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Abu Dar, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, Messenger of Allah said to me, "O Abu Dar, I see that you are weak, and I like for you what I like for myself. Do not rule over even two persons, and do not manage an orphan's property." Muslim. Abu Dar, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, I said to Messenger of Allah, "Why do you not appoint me to an official position?" He patted me on the shoulder with his hand and said, "O Abu Dar, you are a weak man, and it is a trust, and it will be a cause of disgrace and remorse on the day of resurrection, except for the one who takes it up with a full sense of responsibility and fulfills what is entrusted to him, discharges its obligations efficiently." Muslim. Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, Messenger of Allah said, "You will covet for getting a position of authority, but remember that it will be a cause of humiliation and remorse on the day of resurrection." Al-Bukhari. Chapter 82. Appointment of pious governors, advisors, and judges. Abu Sa'id and Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, Messenger of Allah said, "Allah neither raised up any prophet, nor did he authorize any person with ruling power, but for whom there were two types of entourage, one enjoins upon him to do good, and incites him to carry it out, and the other enjoins evil, and goads him. And the protected from the bad entourage is the one whom Allah protects. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, reported, Messenger of Allah said, when Allah desires good for a ruler, He appoints for him a sincere advisor who will remind him if he forgets and helps him if he remembers. When Allah wishes for him the contrary, He appoints for him a bad advisor who will not remind him if he forgets, nor will he help him if he remembers. Abu Dawood, Chapter 83. Prohibition on appointing an aspirant. Person to public. Abu Musa Ash'ari, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, I called on the Prophet with 2 of my cousins. One of them said to him, O Messenger of Allah, appoint me governor of some land over which Allah has given you authority. The other also requested for something of the same nature. Messenger of Allah said, By Allah, we do not appoint someone to this post who seeks it, or someone who contends for it. Al-Bukhari and Muslim.